Greetings, citizens, and thanks for tuning in to Nindie Nation. I'm Jeff, and today on episode 143, we're taking a look at every indie game hitting the Nintendo Switch through the week ending April 10th. You can find Nindie Nation on Twitter, come hang out with us on Discord, or check out the week's new releases with us right here on YouTube every Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern during our Nindies at Night stream. At this point, we usually go into the games that snuck onto the eShop last week, then the new releases, and then the eShop sales. However, this week my schedule is pretty cramped, and in an attempt to avoid 2 missed weeks in a row, we're just gonna stick to the new releases so you're not flying into the eShop blind. There is one game, though, that I want to make sure you're aware of. So let's kick off episode 143 by taking a look at the game that's worth your attention that released since episode 142. The sole game featured during last week's Nindies at Night is one that I was pretty excited for, but until playing it on stream, I had no idea just how much fun it would be. Agent Intercept is a cartoony arcade driving game that blends non-stop action and spy movie stylings with a tone that never takes itself too seriously. Starting as an iOS game in 2019, Pickpock's asking price of $19.99 initially turned me off, but the more I learned about what this game had to offer, the more I've come around on its overall value. As it began life as a mobile game, the general structure is built around replayable levels with various challenges that each take maybe 3 to 5 minutes to play through. All the while, you're witnessing a very well-produced narrative play out all about spies and evil corporations that gives it a tone much like the old FPS No One Lives Forever. Think of it as somewhere in between James Bond and Austin Powers. The game is incredibly simple. You automatically drive, so your job is just to steer left and right while leveraging a boost to perform drifts and takedowns, all while occasionally collecting weapons to help you take out enemies. Within a couple minutes, you'll get what this game is all about, but its immediately gratifying gameplay loop, obtainable challenges, and ridiculous set pieces make the entire ride quite enjoyable. While I was debating on stream if the $20 asking price was worth it, I stumbled upon 2 new modes that more than doubled the game's about 3-hour length, and I think that even if it's much easier to recommend at $10 or $15, you'll have a great time and find your money's worth if you jump in now. Check out the stream if you want to see more, and know that Agent Intercept is absolutely Nindie Nation approved. I just wanted to make sure we touched on that game since I had so much fun with it, and it was one of the only noteworthy games of the last week. But otherwise, in the interest of time, let's jump right in to the 17 new releases hitting the Nintendo Switch through Sunday, April 10th. Get hyped, citizens, because the sole game releasing on Monday the 4th is none other than Dashing Dodgems by Yellowcake Games. For the low price of $11.99, you too can experience this
zany multiplayer party game with a gimmick
as you zip around on bumper cars. Experience incredible thrills such as chasing a spotlight or bumping each other into water. Yeah, so there's that. 2 games release on Wednesday the 6th, and Dead Drop Studios is kicking things off with the 7th entry in their Resident Evil wannabe series with Outbreak Contagious Memories for $30. These titles are pretty well received for any of you classic survival horror fans, and this latest entry just straight up looks like a slightly modernized Resident Evil 2, with a police station in peril and a ponytail-wielding protagonist in tow. And East Asia Soft has a vertical shmup with a pixel art style as Z-Warp drops for $6.99. Looks like a bombastic trip through bullet hell levels full of enemy swarms and ridiculous explosions wrapped up in a package that looks like a modernized Game Boy Advance game. It's developed by Panda Indie Studio, who has released similar titles I've really enjoyed, like Project Starship X and Null Drifter, so based on the trailer and developer's history, I'm really looking forward to this one. And with a big ol' Thursday drop coming back this week, before we dig into that treasure trove, let's take a look at a few games that you should avoid at all costs. Bimbo and Tree Frog are back to teach children all the wrong things about horses with the latest bunghole and twat-waffle New Adventures with Horse for $22.49. McPepper Games races to the top of Mount Moron with
Cars, Puzzles, Game, Funny Car and Trucks, Preschool Jigsaw Education, Learning Puzzle Games for Babies, Kids, and Toddlers,
which costs roughly $1 per word in the title, or, depending on your math, one child's soul per person who is involved in this abomination. Naptime Games jumps on that sticker puzzle bandwagon with Calm Colors. It's $4 and doesn't look terrible, but I promise you, I will judge the ever-loving shit out of you if you buy this. Oh, and if you wanted to look for icons on pictures, or just want someone in your family to stop asking for your Switch, show them Aaron the Little Detective, which is the lone fault of Asylum Square Interactive. And before we get back to the games made by companies who don't want to be known as eShop scam artists, we can't forget about Nerd Games and their release that looks like nothing more than a throwaway Roblox level. Super Clown Lost Diamonds. Wait, is this like Super Clown is a series and the game is Lost Diamonds? Or are you telling me that Super Clown lost diamonds? I guess just like fun itself, the purpose for existing, or the dreaded diamonds themselves, Nerd Games has also lost punctuation. Do not fret though, citizens, because we've got some games with big potential as we head into Thursday the 7th, and it kicks off with Skystone Games and The Last Friend for $14.99. At its absolute core, this game is a tower defense title clearly inspired by Plants vs. Zombies. But look a little closer and you'll see it's also much more. The world has been destroyed and some mutant thing is kidnapping dogs. Oh noes! You, a lumberjack named Alpha, needs to team up with a puppy named T1 to travel across the country in an upgradable RV and take out the mutants to figure out what happened to all the lost doggos. So yeah, it's got the bones of a classic addictive game and layers on all the ridiculous pomp and circumstance we've come to love from indie games. Better yet, there's a demo that you can go download and try it out for yourself. So go do that and let me know what you think of The Last Friend. And now for something completely different. I'm not sure what we do about this game, but it'll set a precedent as we see Forever Entertainment take their indie label and start bringing more classic games back into the modern era. This week, their long-awaited remake of House of the Dead launches for $22.49, and I'm not sure what to say about it. The original game is one of the all-time classic arcade shooters, and they seem to have rolled out the red carpet with new visuals, gyroscopic aiming, co-op, and all kinds of unlockables. The thing is, if the core game doesn't play well, there's no point in going further. So I'll say, if you're looking for an arcade shooter, check out the reviews, let's hold off a few days, and if everything pans out well, know that there's a lot to like in the House of the Dead. Frogwares is back with the latest in their long-running, well-received Sherlock Holmes series with Sherlock Holmes, the Devil's Daughter for $25.49. As usual, you'll work various cases alongside Watson, interrogate suspects and question witnesses, and search areas in a third-person perspective as you try to solve the case. If you enjoyed previous games in this or Frogwares' Crimes and Punishment series, it's a fair assumption to say you'll dig this one too. However, if you're not sold on the whole Sherlock angle, but you still want to solve some mysteries, or rewrite history, I think this next release looks really cool. The second release by General Interactive and first to hit the Switch is the Carmen Sandiego-inspired Chinatown Detective Agency, which comes by way of Humble Games for $24.99. As you can see, this is a beautiful near-future Singapore with neon-filled pixel art that sets the stage for Amira Dharma, a new private investigator who is low on cash and short on time. Both resources you'll have to manage as you work to solve your first crime since leaving Interpol. Beyond the detailed world and interface that's inspired by classic PC adventure games, Chinatown Detective Agency also brings a really cool idea to the table where various clues have to be found among the real world. The examples they give are looking up airport codes online or finding the source of a quote that's given to you as a clue. I'm not sure how often this happens, but I love the idea. You all know that these games aren't typically my bag, but if anyone is checking this one out, I would love to hear how it is. And then Chili Dog Interactive and Slay Boerman take a sharp left turn from the world of detective mysteries with, Radioactive Dwarfs Evil from the Sewers for $4.99. With an aesthetic similar to early PC games, or even something like the Commodore 64, this is a puzzle, action-y game? With a top-down, or, well, I guess it's side-scrolling, it's kinda both? Anyways, it looks like you spend most of your time roaming around levels and looking for keys to unlock the next door while dodging and occasionally attacking what I guess are the aforementioned radioactive dwarfs until you wind up at a boss battle. It's certainly different, I'll give it that. What? Radioactive dwarfs not doing it for you?
Nice, Sue!
Whose past works include 2 bullshit puzzle games with half-naked wizard ladies, bring us Makoko X. It's one of those arcade games where you block off areas on screen to slowly back enemies into a corner. It's also tough to explain, but you can see the video. It's like Crawlco Block Knockers, and in fact, just like that game, this one has also decided that instead of crafting a more compelling gameplay loop, they'd just throw half-naked anime girls all over the place. So if you want to be the person who says,
"No way, dude, this game is great, even if there weren't cartoon boobies everywhere. It has nothing to do with
The sexy ladies.
I just really love the gameplay.
well, you can revel in your own delusions for $11.49. Happy's Humble Burger Farm. I watched like 45 minutes of videos about this game, and it's the kind of shit that all of my kids' 3rd grade friends watch on YouTube that I refuse to let her see. It's very much like a cross between Five Nights at Freddy's and the Stanley Parable. You're some kind of fast food worker that's, I guess, under mind control, and of course, everything's spooky, and if you screw up an order, some monster runs at the screen so that YouTubers will scream and jump out of their seat. It's made by Scythe Dev Team and is published by TinyBuild, and it got pretty positive reviews, so as long as you know what you're getting into, it launches for $17.99 and should be well received. Spingram, however, is a game that I'm digging. It's the first Switch release by Pixen, who made a couple of Android games over the last couple years. It's like solving a Rubik's Cube that's made inside of an MC Escher painting. You're just twisting shapes to form what's on the screen, but perspective plays a big part in how you solve the puzzles. On mobile stores, all of the positive reviews say that it's wonderful, and all of the negative reviews are just dogging the mobile ads. So, with this version being ad-free and including a freaking 1,000 puzzles for only $4.99, maybe it's worth checking out. Oh, hey, it's been a whole year since I named an episode You Can Do Save Anytime, and the developers of the game whose description that joke came from, called Die, are back at it again with, the same Fire Emblem clone with wildly inconsistent character art? Well, this one isn't called Traditional Tactics NE+, no, it's called Traditional Braves, so it's gotta be different. You know what? Nope, this one's not worth $20. And then we've got our obligatory simplistic neon single-screen platformer, this one called Kombinera, and it's by Graphite Lab, Joystick, and Atari? Hey, so look, Atari, right? One of the biggest names in gaming. This company has gone through so many name changes, license holders, and acquisitions, I'm not sure who the hell owns them now. Their games are all falling in the indie space, though, at least categorically, so we'll keep covering them just for those of you who have asked. So, Kombinera looks pretty neat, if not exactly what you would expect. My problem here is that it's really simple and is $15, which I can only assume is because so many teams and license holders are involved and all need their cut. For now, though, if you like what you see, throw it on your wish list, and if it reviews well, I'll bring it back up next time it's on sale. And last up for Thursday, we've got Slipstream, a retro arcade racing game by Blitworks that sends you back to the synthwave 80s in a mashup of Outrun and Ridge Racer style gameplay. As the name suggests, you get ahead in the races by riding the rear of your rivals until you use the Slipstream to zoom ahead. It's $10 and looks reasonably competent. How's that for a back-of-the-box quote? I might want to check this one out. It could be a good way to start Nindies at night this week. But we're not done yet, citizens. We've still got a few games to discuss on Friday, and then we've got these games that you should avoid at all costs. Red, white, yellow zinger is probably what the aliens said when Takahiro Miyazawa showed them his Luminous clone and asked them to name it. It's $12 and, well, I will say some of the K-pop tracks by Room 97 are kinda bangers. The game looks garbage though. Silesia Games made something called Floating Farmer, which is what they call you when you're so sick of playing their farming game that you jump off the nearest bridge. And our friends at
Game National
are back because, just like the dipshit feline and chubby cat, they can't tell when nobody wants to deal with their which is further evidenced by Axolotl, which I can only describe as a Bad Celeste ripoff built over the weekend at a game jam. But they will not be outdone. Oh, no, they will not. Because pig farts are back too, and they've got a pile of garbage for you this week. 3D Box Sokoban helps you relive the feeling of being an agoraphobe with nothing to do but play shitty video games. Micro Stunt Machina is just one of a million physics-based driving ripoffs on mobile. And Worm Run is an actual real-life simulation of the hell that will face PixArts one day as they must reckon with the army of rejected video games that will come to haunt them. A good transition, then, would be Rocket Cows by Entity 3, because this game looks terrible. However, it's a 3D take on Angry Birds where you fling cows at things that go boom. If it was a penny more, it'd be in the no-no pile. But hey, for 99 cents? I don't know, maybe you'll get a few minutes out of it. Alright, we need to have a talk. Sit down, son. Look, Digital Tribe Games has helped incubate some questionable indies at best, but I do really dig this week's release of Astro Dogs by Dynamic Media Triad. Here's the thing. This is it. No more 80s neon synthwave games, okay? I'm getting sick of saying it. Everyone, stop it, okay? That being said, this on-rails shooter looks like a modern take on classic Star Fox with a trippy aesthetic featuring just the best boys. Who's a good boy? Yeah, that's right, you are shooting down enemies like Slippy's begging for help, Peppy won't shut up about your dad, and Falco's just being a royal Astro Dogs has a few reviews on Steam, all of them are positive, and this Star Dogs game has given me the right kind of vibes. For $13, I am definitely going to try and pick this one up for Nindies at night. What do you think? Last up for this week is not from Radioactive. Huh. Maybe someone fell asleep at the wheel over there. I don't know. Guess we'll look for Radioactive in next week's Neglected Nindies. Anyways, World of One releases for $8.49, and this little game by Grimwood Team is definitely not lacking in the spooky department. It's a platformer that seems to be inspired by games like Limbo, but takes place on a big rotating 2D circle. It seems like there's some sort of looping mechanic, or at least a pretty deep puzzle element that will reward multiple playthroughs. And if you dig the vibe, it just might be worth checking out. Unfortunately, I can't though, for personal reasons, as their description uses the phrase,
However, these ones are filled with monsters.
and it just drives me up a wall when someone says, these ones. So what are you feeling this week? My picks are Z-Warp, The Last Friend, Slipstream, and Astro Dogs, all of which I'll be trying to track down for Nindies at night. So let me know what you're considering this week, and don't forget to stop by this Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern to see some of this week's games in action. As I mentioned at the top, I have a very limited amount of time this week, and instead of skipping 2 weeks in a row, I'm running a little test to see if a shorter episode focused exclusively on the new releases will speed things up a bit. Let me know if you like the truncated format. And don't forget, you can always find Nindie Nation over on Twitter, but for the best conversations, come join us over on Discord. If you want to come hang out, the links to do so are down in this episode's description. Otherwise, citizens, that does it for this week, and we'll be back at it with a full regular episode on April 13th. Thanks so much for watching, liking, subscribing, and sharing Nindie Nation with others. Until next week, I'm Jeff. This has been Nindie Nation episode 143, and remember, no matter what type of game you're looking for, Nindie Nation will be right here to help you find just the thing to keep your Joy-Cons synced.